This is live.
Hi.
Hi. What do you got planned later for today? What is it? What's the? Cause what's today? Saturday.
It's Saturday.
My week has been all messed up ever since we've ended up like with school
What
and
have
stuff.
you been up to?
Really, just trying to clean the place up. Cause since my roommate's out, we have the deal that someone takes care of the living room, someone takes care of the kitchen, and then I take care of the bathroom.
Does that actually happen? You
No.
told me your roommate is a soaker with the dishes, which
Yeah. So it'll take a couple days before they actually get into doing the dishes. So now I'm like, okay, I finally get to take the time. I'll do my dishes when I have time, and it'll only take like 2 days. So it's been
That's
good.
like my maximum limit. If
2
once
days.
2
Mhm.
days, it's just too crusty. Gross.
Yeah, and it gets harder the more you leave it. That's what I don't understand. But yeah, I cleaned the kitchen like really good. The floors were icky. Yeah, they were pretty icky. You could probably see them. We're pretty pristine and white now.
I bet they are.
Yeah.
I need to do the same before I travel.
Cause when do you leave?
I leave Monday, so I leave.
So it's just this tomorrow, and then.
Yeah.
Jeez, have you packed?
No. I don't know what's wrong with me because I think I'm A-type on every other aspect of my life other than like packing and going to the airport. Like I don't.
Do you like going to the airport? I don't
No,
know. I
I'm
freaking
brown.
love. No. Well, yeah, that is true. Okay, that is another point. You bring up a really good point because my dad he falls into that same situation. We have our last name is Carrillo.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know anything about the Carrillo last name, Mexico?
I do not.
So back in the 70s, there was like this huge cartel, and Carrillo, I think is Amado Carrillo. He used to transport a lot of the drugs. He used to fly planes.
Is that from Mexico or
He used to fly
Colombia?
actually from Colombia to Mexico, and then Mexico to different parts of Mexico, right? So he was this well-renowned pilot for cartels. And we have the same last name. So whenever we fly internationally to Mexico, they stop him.
That's funny.
And we've noticed, if we leave from Denver, not much of a problem. But Texas,
oh yeah,
Fort Worth, once we stop there, it's like, hey, you know what? You need to slow your roll, sir. And
does he get patted down?
No, so they just take him to a little room, and they don't even ask him questions. Like the last 3 times they've done it there, they just hold him there for like 30, 40 minutes. It's
That's
like
weird. It's like he's gonna like crack or something.
Yeah. And he's just sitting there like, it's always funny because it's like, yeah, they did the same thing. They didn't do anything.
No, my parents were the same way, but they don't take it as seriously. I remember when I was a kid, we went to Canada because my grandparents lived there, and I was like 8, 9 years old, and we went to Canada, and they're like laughing in front of the customs agent, and I'm like,
oh,
and and they were speaking Farsi, and I was like, what are you like? As a 9-year-old, I was like, read the room. This isn't like the time or place. And the agent, TSA agent, was like, is something funny? And I was like, no, they're just they're
so did you have the same thing where growing up, were you the translator for?
Oh yeah. I think that was like my assigned duty as a kid. Doctor's appointments. And like usually doctor's appointments, there's like technical terms, and I was like, I don't know what this means as a 9-year-old, that and like everywhere we went.
Did you ever use that to your advantage? Like if the school called and they'll be like, oh, can I speak to your parents? Da da da. They're like, oh well, they're not here at the moment, but I'll make sure to leave a message.
Honestly, I would like check myself out. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I would call the school and I'd be like, oh yeah, like she's sick, she's not feeling well. And when I got home, my parents didn't care. My mom was like, okay, cool.
Well, it was funny because my parents, like, I just had this last episode with my brother, and I was telling him, since my parents used to work like super late in middle school, I know I had a lot of detentions in middle school. Like a lot.
A bad kid.
But it wasn't really like bad. It was just like fighting on the playground. Like I think that was the main thing. I'd be very competitive, and then I'd like shove a kid, and then I'd get detention or whatever. But what I was telling him is that my parents never found out about all those detentions because they would stay at work for so long, and I'd just be chilling there. I'd be like, oh, well, they're not going to find out.
No, same. Like,
they wouldn't send papers home or anything like that.
Or, like, when they needed to sign things, I would never explain to them what they were. I was just like, can
sign
you sign
here.
this?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I don't know. For me, I just kind of grew up, like, learning how to be responsible for myself and, like, just, like, growing up, like, you know, fast, I think, like, in an immigrant, like, household. You kind of just have responsibilities that most kids don't have. And then, like,
that's true.
You're like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
it becomes second nature.
Yeah, like, I feel like it's either, I want to say it's either you learn how to be responsible for yourself, or you go to the other, like, opposite spectrum where you're, like, really, like, reliant, or you get involved with the wrong kids, like.
Oh, yeah, that's true, because you feel like you have a shit ton of freedom.
Yeah, because, like, your parents aren't really, like, involved in your life, and I don't know. I think I've always just been, like, a scaredy cat and a prude for most of my life. So.
Well, that fear of, like, oh, crap. Because do you have any siblings?
I have a younger sister, but she's, like, 9.
Oh.
Yeah, so she's, like, 12 years younger than me.
Separated. So, basically, you were alone for a long time. For, like, you grew up by yourself.
Yeah, I was an only child for 12 years.
Jeez.
And I think, like, being an only child is, like, especially with, like, brown families, it's a lot of responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have the expectation to do things that your parents.
The family name kind of holds on your back, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's similar to, like, Latino families, but I think, like, especially Middle Easterns, they're very nosy. And they always, like, very involved, like, with other people, like, other families' business. And it's, like, if your kid doesn't do well or something happens,
everyone's gonna find out.
Everyone, your aunt's friend is gonna find out, and you know, you kind of just don't. You try to avoid it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because also your parents compare you to everyone.
So there's not only the parent pressure, but there's like aunties and friends and family friends, and the whole community is gonna be like looking at you like, oh well, why didn't you do this?
Yeah, and I feel like even when you're successful, you know, I think I've been pretty successful in my life so far. Like, I'm very appreciative and grateful that I got a full ride scholarship. But I think, like,
hold that thought. We're gonna get into that later.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will.
But yeah, so just.
But I think, like, along with success is also just that immense pressure of, like, you need to do well consistently, and if you mess up, then it's like. You are judged more, like, harder than, like, other kids. I feel like, you know, there's an expectation that you don't make mistakes.
Yeah, yeah. And me and my brother were talking about that as well, because my brother, he didn't finish college. So he went to college, but he did feel that pressure as soon as he dropped out, that everyone around him was like, well, you're, like, fucking up the name, you know, you're kind of screwing it up for everyone. Your parents did all this work for you. And he quickly found out, he was like, you know what, let me just kind of step away from this, because it's kind of like.
It's toxic.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it put him in a bad kind of headspace. So he moved out after that with his now wife. So they now have a kid, and now they're doing good. But he said that there was a huge amount of pressure, not only from us, like, our parents, but also from cousins, because our cousins always felt like we were the family that had the most out of everyone else. So there was like, oh, you were expected. You were expected to do this. And it's like, dude, like, hold on, chill.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. That much
I think I was kind of like the opposite. I think our family was definitely, like, less educated and poorer compared to, like, the rest of our family. So I think, like, when I was, you know, doing these things, it was kind of like a shock or a surprise, which is, like, good, but also, like, there's so much pressure to keep doing well.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I've messed up in, like, you know, regards to my academics or my, like, life because of that, and I think that's a good thing. I think I would have rather had parents that really did care about that stuff than having parents that didn't care at all.
Yeah, yeah, because it makes it a bigger challenge for you to kind of stay focused on that, because they're like, oh, that's not useful, you know?
That's not important.
Yeah.
And I think, like, education for me has always been, like, a, you know, emphasized, and, like, it is, like, the most important thing.
It keeps that routine.
Yes.
It's huge. Now that, and like I was explaining, like what we started off, my schedule has been, like, screwed up Like I'm like struggling to find things to do because I'm like, well, I don't have to write a paper anymore. I don't have to, go to class on Monday. I don't have to, which in some specs it's like, dude, stop being a nerd and like wanting to go to class. But it does kind of fit into my schedule perfectly to where I don't have to think about all these other things.
Like things that you kind of have to find outside of school or work.
Yeah.
I think like I've gotten better with that. I think this year was just trying to find things that I like doing. And I realized this quarter that when I put less pressure on myself to do well academically, I kind of just do it because I want to learn about the subject rather than like wanting to get like the number grade. And I think that's important because I'm actually caring about what I'm learning and focusing on that. And then like my mental health has been like significantly like better this quarter because like I'm focusing on exercising, and the times that I do have to study, I think I've been just using it more efficiently because I'm like, okay, after this I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Like it's the date, like the night before your exam. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like there's no point. It's like you already like I don't think you can get better than this.
Yeah, because you've been working for it like incrementally throughout the quarter to, produce that final product. But for me, I don't know, it's like
it's hard.
That continuous, but like you said, this quarter I did choose a lot of classes that I did, just enjoy. Intro to politics, that was a big class. Shout out Dakota Parkozy. She's a dope ass professor. If you're in DU, like, take that class next quarter. She's like super fun, but
definitely not a part of my major at all.
But just take it as an elective.
I can't. I won't graduate in time.
But no, yeah, like, I found that even though all of my like major required classes, they're in a way kind of just keeping me on track just to do something, I'll find interest somewhere, somehow. I don't always have to choose,
Also, you don't always have to like know. I think like I've realized that is just like it's okay. I mean, I don't think I found my passion yet. Like I found passions outside of school, but I don't think I found something that I love doing. It's just like playing it by ear, and maybe you will never find that passion outside of work, like inside of work. Maybe you'll just do it to, make ends meet and then move on with your day. And I think like I'm trying to focus, like I'm trying to prioritize other things right now than like just schoolwork. Like
Yeah, and it's good because not everything revolves around work or school.
Yes, but I think like I've been grown up.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
thinking that it is like my entire like life, right?
It has been
school and then like work and then good
job. For the
job.
past 20 years, or let's put it past 10 years. Seriously, it's been school. It takes up 8 hours, probably 7 hours of your day for most of the year.
Oh my God, yeah, I had no life in high school.
Right?
I did not have a life. Like, I think I had like 2 friends, and then.
So, all right, let's get it. Okay, hold on. What are we at right now? We're at 13 minutes. Let's keep on going. But where are you from? Did you grow up in Denver?
I know I did not. I grew up in Utah.
Oh, okay.
So. Different. I think I got like a culture shock when I moved here.
Yeah, it's a bigger city, right?
Bigger city. People are a little bit more open about like things. I don't know. I think where I grew up, it was definitely more conservative. It was like Utah is like predominantly Mormon, so it's different, and it's like it's either you're like a part of the bubble, you're a part of like that religion, and like you have like a circle there, or you don't. And I felt like kind of an outsider there my whole life. I definitely found people that were not a part of that religion, and they were people of color mostly. And I think that's the people that I've kind of.
Is there a big population of people of color out there in Utah? Because I've only passed by, and I've driven through what is it, St. George?
Oh yeah, absolutely not. That's just old people.
Yeah. And that's all we found was just a bunch of old
that's
people
like a
or
retirement
tourists.
Community.
Yeah, because they're right. It's right by the national park. So that's what I was thinking.
It's hot consistently there.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's not as. I think that's definitely hotter than Denver. Going back to your question, What was the question?
Is there like a large community of color out there?
Actually, surprisingly, my school is pretty diverse.
Yeah?
I'm not gonna. I think it was like 40, 60, 40% were like Latino, majority Latino, and then you had like a couple of like black
We're
kids.
everywhere. We're everywhere. We
Oh my
we
God,
find our
yes.
we find our ways into the nooks and crannies. We're everywhere.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed that more. I definitely enjoyed that more. And not to say I definitely have lots of white friends, but I think it's just nice seeing yourself in other people, you know? Yeah. And then, like I grew up like in a pretty diverse high school, and I think like I got culture shock going to DU because it wasn't as diverse. I think there's like everyone in my classrooms, especially my like, you know, my first couple years, even now, like I'm usually like the only person of color. There might be another person. That's really about it, and it's usually male dominated because I'm like in the business school. So
yeah.
So lots of finance bros.
Yeah, and it's reversed for me. It's heavily. There's a lot of women and females in the classes, but predominantly white. And that's where I always feel like, oh, I gotta be careful with what I say, because I don't want to offend anyone, right? Because I don't want to just speak out and say something that be like, oh yeah, it makes sense to me, but then cause something to happen within the class. So I always gotta be cognizant of what's going on in the situation that I'm in.
I think that's like
but
with
even
any
then,
environment, right?
Like but even then, it's not like I'm outwardly like trying to say some fucked up shit or anything like that. I just gotta be like, okay, I gotta think about it twice. Like, okay, am I gonna raise my hand? Okay, what am I gonna say? Okay, now I gotta say it.
Male brain is just like
yeah, it's like ooga say no. I gotta like actually think about it and kind of like slow down, which has helped me a lot, honestly.
I think that's a good skill to have, like in general, like any type of environment, especially in the professional world. You really want to be cognizant with what you say, right? So yeah, I would say. Anyways, going back, I think honestly Salt Lake City was more diverse than like Denver.
Really?
Yes, that's like a hot take.
Well, where we're at right now, right?
Oh yeah, but I feel like yes, I think Aurora is definitely diverse.
Yeah, that's
parts of Aurora.
Yeah.
And then you have parts of Aurora that were just like very like segregated, very like.
That's like newer Aurora by the airport.
Yeah, and like even the Centennial area, it's like a different world. Like Parker is insane. Like it's gated communities. There's just like so many big houses, and then you go to like Colfax, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah. It's like it's a time blast from the 70s if you go down Colfax from what is it, Colorado and east. It's like, holy shit, this Denver is still in the 70s out here, or is this the 80s?
I know. I feel like that's like every state with like gerrymandering and just how we like divide communities up.
Yeah.
It just is the way it is. It's sad, but it's true. There's always going to be small pockets of like really rich, affluent people, and then you're going to have like people that are poor, people of color.
Yeah. Living in those parts of the city. But I've seen, from me living here, I've seen different parts of Denver, especially Rhino. Do you know where Rhino district is?
Yes, I like Rhino.
So Rhino's a nice part, right? But that used to be a heavy black and Hispanic community.
I did not know that.
Very that was East Side Denver. East Side Denver was the place that you do not go with like at night in the 90s
it's like
and the
Colfax,
2000s.
Yeah.
Even worse.
Really? Wow.
Even worse. And after a lot of the development, buying, slowly reaching out from, downtown Denver, it kind of just moved down Brighton Road. And that's where they started making all those hip bars and all that stuff. And it's like, holy shit.
It's very hipster, gentrified.
Yeah. But, I mean, I still have a lot of friends that live, like, super close to Rhino. And they're like, dude, it's getting crazy out here, There's still a lot of gang violence and stuff like that. You got to be careful. But it's definitely slowed down from back then. Because, even by Lakeside too, it's just crazy to see. Like a lot of Denver has changed, like from what feels like 10 years.
I I don't think I've lived here long enough to actually notice the changes.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, especially, like, going to DU and, like, living by campus, it's, like, a different world than, like, outside of Denver. I think this year, after, like, turning 21, I think I've just kind of explored more of downtown and, like, just, like, gone out, at night, and I've realized that there's more to it, but...
Would you think about, like, once you graduate, staying out here?
I'm planning on for like a first couple of years, I think, like especially now, like everything's so inflated with just, the job market's like messed up. You have like inflation being like the worst it has been in 40 years. And yeah, for now I think I will, just 'cause I think it's really expensive to move to a major city, and that's where I want to be.
Oh, okay. Where are you thinking? LA, New York?
Not LA, but like close. San Francisco or New York. I think New York just 'cause like...
And is it because it's better for what you're trying to do?
Yes, but also I don't think I'll live in those cities forever. I think I just want to do it when I'm like in my early 20s. I want to meet people. I want to see like, just people from all walks of life. And I think like Denver, as much as I've met like super like diverse people, I've also met the same like kind of, same people like in different fonts.
Just think about it. The in different fonts. I like that. I'm gonna steal that one. But it's you just gotta recognize it's like who are the ones that are able to do those types of things, right?
What do you mean by that?
Who are the ones that are able to afford to go out and do all those types of things? Because there's a lot of here in Denver, at least from the way I've grown up, it's a lot of backyard culture. It's like it's a lot of just do it, stay at home. You don't really need to go out. And that's where you really start to open up. It's kind of like that same thing with like carne asadas in LA culture.
I appreciate that. I grew up like in Utah. My best friend, I met her in 6th grade. She's, comes from a Hispanic family. She's half white. And like I think they kind of adopted me as like as a kid. So for me, like I'd always go to their functions, and that was so much fun because it was that sense of family that I like.
You just need the house. Everyone will bring everything.
Exactly, and it was so fun, and it was like everyone just like treating you like you belong, and you like that you're a part of the family, even though they don't know you.
Exactly.
They're like drunk. They're like, give me a hug. You want to take a shot with me? Yeah, like, that was fun, and I think I've noticed that in Denver, especially with like I have a friend, Steven, that I met like freshman year, and I was invited to their family functions like at his sister's place, and that was really fun, and I appreciate that like smaller part of it. But I think right now I'm definitely feeling more I want to be in a big city. And I don't know if that's just like me fantasizing a big like a big city and like having this high expectation.
Be a city dweller almost, right? Kind of live in the city, among the city. You don't really need much, just you yourself. Yeah. I feel it, and I've felt the same way as well. Especially when I visited New York, I was like, ooh,
it's so lively.
I could do this. Like I get it. It's fast paced, but that romantic feeling about it.
It's like any big city. I think I romanticize it, and then I'm like, I want to live there. But I know in reality, it's probably going to be like very similar. I'm still going to have similar issues, but I don't know. I think part of me is just like I have moved around my entire life, so I guess I'm not used to like staying like in one place for like a long time, and I want to keep like going. I don't know. I don't think I found home in Denver yet.
Okay.
I think home is, I don't know.
It's out there.
It's out there, but it's not in Denver.
Yeah.
Not yet. I don't know.
Yeah. But all right, let's play the music. We'll take a little break, and then we'll continue the conversation.
Okay.
And we are back. We're live for another episode. So this is the official intro now. So I want to welcome someone very special to the LWH family. Tara, welcome to the studio, LWH studio. I know you can't see anyone else, but so me and Tara actually go to the same university, similar to me and Brandon. And the way we know each other is that we actually got the same scholarship the Daniels Fund Scholarship. And I was actually one of the last years that it was a full ride scholarship. Now Daniels Fund it's going off of what, 25,000, I believe.
Yeah, it's
for academic year.
Yeah, we got grandfathered into the the full ride.
Yeah, and I was my class, the 2020 was the last one. You're 2019, right?
I am.
Yeah.
Senior.
Yeah, it's all coming to an end so quickly.
I know.
2 more quarters.
2 more quarters, like 6 months. I'm really excited.
Oh, I bet.
I think I've had a lot of school for like nonstop for like 14, 15 years now.
Something like that. Yeah. Like actually having to.
Yeah, like actually focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need a break. I definitely need to go into like the job force.
Do you have plans of going into even higher education, like graduate or MBA?
I think I do. I don't think it's necessary for the field that I'm going into because it's like mostly based on like experience. But I think it's just like a personal goal of mine that I want to get my my master's or my MBA. But I don't know. It's expensive. I think it's harder for you to get like scholarships. So it's definitely something that I want to be serious about. And right now I'm burnt out. I think I need a break. And I know my parents don't like that at all. Yeah. Because they're like, you should go right away or you're not going to go. And that, I don't know. I don't think that's true. I think it takes the right person.
But at the end of the day, what are they most concerned of? Of the actual title that you get or that you can actually sustain and, live on your own? Because I feel like as a parent, I would be more happy with my child or my kid, being able to live on their own and not have to fall back or,
I agree. Right? I feel like I think like when we're talking about it in a lens where it's definitely not as traditional as what our parents believe. And my parents think they have this idea and there's perception that if I go to I go to grad school and get my master's and all that, I would get like a higher salary, which I don't think it's necessarily the case. Like, really, the financial industry is like based on experience. And I mean, once I start my job, I think I will be able to sustain myself. Yeah, and they're happy about that. I think my mom's a little disappointed and annoyed, but I think like eventually she'll come to acceptance. Just with every decision that I make that's not her way, it's always like, oh, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I think those types of sentiments will go away when you start saying, hey, you know what? I'll invite you to my house. You know what? I'll send you a driver to go pick you up from the airport. You don't have to worry about it.
I'll pay for your hotel.
I'll pay for it. No, I'll actually let you stay in the guest house. Don't you worry about a thing. That's when they'll start to say, you know what? Okay,
I made it.
All right, my daughter's going, she's doing fine. I don't got to worry about her anymore.
I think they're getting there. I think my mom, oh my God, my relationship with her, like, freshman year was just, like, she would call, like, first week that I started, she would like, call me every day. Oh, my. Every single day. And then ask the same type of questions. And I'm like, I'm alive. I'm okay. Yeah. Like, I'm going to be okay. Yeah. And this is the first time where I was, like, living in a different state, and I was away, and, like, I think she got really anxious because I wasn't around. But
did you ever feel like that, or were you like, get me out of here?
Oh, my God, yes. Yeah. I think my relationship with my parents are so much better when I'm, in a different state. I think not in the same house. We don't get into, like, petty arguments over stuff, and it's not, like, their way or the highway, or they're, like, I think, oh my God, no matter how old you get, when you grow up in that kind of family, like an immigrant family, they always think that they're right. They know they know what's best for you, which I don't know. I think most of the time, I could say yes. Like, they do care about my well-being, but I don't think they know, like, exactly what I want. So I would say so much better, my relationship with them. Also, like, I kind of grew up, like, I was very independent as a child. So for me, like, the transition between, like
it was seamless. It
did not affect me at all. Like, I was, like, fine.
I was the same way. Even though I had a brother and my parents, from what it sounds like, your parents were always like, watchdog on top.
Helicopter parents.
Exactly. But for me, it was just always like, okay, they started giving me more trust as soon as I started showing, I'm able to afford a truck. Okay, I bought the truck. I'm able to maintain it. I'm able to maintain my clothes. I'm able to maintain myself. I have a job. I'm able to pay for stuff, And that's where they were like, okay, well, we'll give them a little more room. And then that's when I started college, and I was like, okay, I'm ready for this,
They're definitely like that now. It took them 4 years to get that way, but I think they've definitely given me, like, their full trust. Like, my mom calls me every couple weeks, and sometimes I call her. She would get so offended sometimes if I didn't call her every week, and it's like, I don't have anything to update you about. Like, and it's not like I have the relationship where I'm like talk about my entire life.
Yeah, like talk about feelings and all this type of stuff.
You don't talk about feelings in families like that. You don't talk about your feelings.
Because this is the distinction. And my brother, it's good that my brother brought this up in this last episode, because I asked him the question. I said, hey, you know what? What do you want to show your kid that me and you had growing up? Mm-hmm. And he said it really quickly. He said, I don't want to be my son's friend, but I want to be his father. Mm-hmm. I don't want him to feel like he can, I really, do all that. No, he needs a father to tell him, you know what, this is what you need to do. All right? Like, because that's the same way my dad was too. It's like, you know what? If you have school, focus on school. You're going to do it. I don't care. You're not doing any sports until you focus on school.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but I think, like, for me, it's like the polar opposite. Like, I really wished my parents would at least discuss, like, how they were feeling. Because it was, like, it was very, like, pent up always, and, like, we would always, like, brush things under the rug. Like, we would never talk about stuff that actually affected them or affected me. We were just kind of, like, there's no apologies. It was just, like, okay, we're going to move on with the day. Yeah. And we're going to avoid what just happened, which for me, it was really hard for me to open up to anyone, like, going, like, my freshman year, because it was like, wow, I need to be more than just a shallow conversationalist. Yeah. Like, I need to, like, be somewhat vulnerable to actually make meaningful connections
with a lot of people here. Yeah.
Which is hard, because I feel like growing up, like, I didn't talk about my feelings.
Well, because also you probably didn't feel comfortable with the people that you were, talking with. There wasn't people that you felt like had the same.
Not even my parents.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you. Did you ever hear about the stories of your parents, immigrating here to the US?
Oh yeah, I was there.
Have you heard those stories? Oh, okay.
I immigrated with them. Okay. I was a little kid, so I think, like, memory is a little bit, like, blurry, but I was there with them,
How old were you when you guys came over?
7.
Okay.
Yeah, I lived in Turkey for about 1.5 years, 2 years. Wow. And then that's how my parents and I got, like, asylum to the U.S. because we were refugees.
Yeah.
I'm Iranian, to clarify.
Oh, okay.
So we came from, like, a religious sect that was persecuted in Iran, so we were granted asylum. Yeah, and I've kind of, like, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I loved living in Turkey. I was a little kid. Like, I didn't really understand what was going on around me. Like,
it was just a normal, like, you felt everything was normal. Life was, like, that's the way it was.
I believe, and it was normal because, like, my family and I weren't separated. I was still with my grandparents. We lived in this 2-bedroom apartment with, like, 5 people, in Turkey for about 2 years. I was there. My grandma and my grandma and my mom would, like, cook dinner and, like, lunch every day. I would play, like, soccer with, like, the neighborhood kids. It was fun. Like, I did not know what was happening. I was like, we're going to America.
Yeah. And you thought it was going to be the same,
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I think, like, my parents had this false, like, idea of what, like, the American dream and all that, and they came to the U.S. and it was, like, hard. They like worked in manual labor jobs, and they still do, and they don't make they make well, like,
enough to support themselves.
Yeah,
but
they just recently got a house. I'm proud of them, but I mean,
but they're not taking weekend trips to Aspen, and they're not in Breckenridge and stuff like that.
I don't think my parents I don't think they've taken a vacation since, like, 6-7 years ago. Yeah, they're hardworking people. Oh. Like, they go after bread, they go after money. And that's how I've been raised. Like, you go after like jobs that that are gonna be like
stable.
I never picked my major out of like, this is what I want to do, because if that's the case, I would have done like history or something.
Well, even with me choosing communications, I feel like there's a lot of people, especially that idea of like, oh, you're a silly little arts major, that whole idea. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, you know what? It's the degree that matters. I can get any other job. I know how to hustle it out.
Exactly.
I know how to hustle. I can go work for either like a marketing firm or anything like that, where I'll just, it's going to be a stable job. I'm probably not going to be doing what I like.
Again, that's like that perception that your parents kind of put on you, where it's like
parents, uncles, family, community around me. It's like, you need to be doing something. Like
doctor, engineer. My parents were like, you got to be a doctor and engineer. For a long time, I thought I was going to be a doctor. And then I realized I hated blood.
Yeah, I
hate blood.
Me too. I don't like it.
I hate blood. Yeah. Also, I have a tremor, so I'd be like the worst. I would kill you as a surgeon. So that didn't work out. And then I was like, business. I think every Iranian that I know has been in, like, as a business major or like an entrepreneur, has a restaurant.
Yeah.
Has like an Iranian restaurant. They're like, but they know how to hustle. I think I grew up like knowing how to like scrape my way through life.
Yeah. You don't need to have it all right now, but you'll make it through somehow.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm really like, now that I look back on it, my parents did really like hustle. They really grinded all those years, and despite my relationship with them, I understand that they're hardworking people that sacrifice their entire life.
Yeah, you know what it looks like to put your head down and just say, you know what, I'm gonna get this thing done, and I'm gonna work towards it.
Exactly.
So now, speaking about scholarship, do you remember when you got that letter from the Daniels Fund?
Oh yeah, I did. I applied for it. Honestly, I don't I don't know why I got it, because my application was so last minute. I asked for my letter of recommendation 2 weeks before the application was due, during like Thanksgiving break. Yep. Gave my my poor teacher a 2-day notice. She was sweet enough to do it during break. Yeah. And then I did my essays like last minute, sent it in. Was really afraid that I was going to hear back from them, but I realized that the last person that got a scholarship from my high school was like 5 or 6 years ago. So it's been a while.
Yeah. So
from
Daniels Fund?
Yeah. So Utah, I think it was 1,900 like applicants like overall, like during my 2019 class. 26 out of 50 got the scholarship in Utah. Like
total history.
Like the finalists. Uh-huh. So there was I think 450 applicants from Utah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I got you got the first interview, right? That was the only interview. But I remember the interview was at a Hilton hotel downtown. I didn't know where I was going. I Ubered there.
All alone. Yep.
Alone. I was going to take the train. I was going to be late if I did that. So I was like, never mind. I'm taking an Uber. And I was so scared. I was sweating so much. And I went into this fancy conference room. Yeah. There's 5 or 6 people. And they're all donors from the Daniels Fund. People that own businesses that donate their own money to the scholarship in Salt Lake City. So intimidating. Almost cried during my interview.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I didn't think I was gonna get it, because I remember after the interview they do a screening.
Yeah. They ask you, okay, if you get it per chance, would you want Apple or HP?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No. And I remember my scholarship, I don't know, the person that was doing that told me was oh, your social media posts have been kind of inappropriate, and I was like,
oh.
And I'm a dumbass 16-year-old, not realizing the things that I post affect my image.
Yeah.
I remember I posted something on Thanksgiving, and it was oh, I like drinking Coke and snorting it too, because I'm an idiot. And I remember they talked about that, and they're like, do you do Coke?
And you're like, oh, what are you talking about?
I was like, no, I don't do Coke. I can't afford Coke, sir.
That's your excuse? I can't afford it? But
no, in my head I was like, I can't afford. In my head I was like, I can't afford Coke. What do you mean? I was like, no, I don't do drugs. Like, 16-year-old me was just making edgy content, and I was like,
Jeez.
I'm being stupid. Yeah, so stupid. And I was like, I'm not gonna get the scholarship. I'm not gonna get it. And then I think they sent out the letters in March or April. I remember
it was somewhere March or April because it was close to my birthday.
Yes, and I read it was a giant envelope, so I was like, this is good news because usually like they don't send giant envelopes for someone who got rejected.
Well, so you talked to people who had previously gotten the scholarship, right?
No.
Oh.
I had no idea. My high school counselor walks in because every month during our high school they talked about scholarships that were available. It was cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, the Daniels Fund." And you know, I was just reaching high like during high school. Like I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go to Harvard." And I did not get into Harvard.
So you applied and everything and didn't.
I got an interview. I'll take that.
Hey.
I think they give everyone interviews, but yeah, I think I don't know. I got rejected, but it's fine. My daddy did not donate a library to
yeah, no.
to
Unfortunately. Unfortunately, that was a little out of the budget that year.
That was like a lot.
It was between bread or a library, and we decided bread.
Yes.
Yeah.
so like I didn't get in, but I had an idea of like I wanted to like just go into the schools, and I wanted to have a backup plan. I was like, you know, it's really I was optimistic that I might get in, but I was like also it's hard. It's a hard school.
Yeah.
That's like less than 5% acceptance rate out of like thousands of applicants. Like I was probably not going to get in, so I needed a backup plan because like the public school that I applied to, the University of Utah, did not give me any scholarships.
Wow.
No merit-based scholarships. Yeah. The University of Utah sucks though, so they do. They have like oh my god, like they've had so many like scandals like the last few years. Like there's like a sexual assault that's like countless sexual assaults like just going.
Well, I feel like it's very prevalent.
Yes.
At big schools.
Yes, like public
because
schools.
it's just a lot of people that you have to put in one area.
Yeah.
There's a lot of batshit crazy stuff that's gonna happen. But
I
back
agree.
to the story. Okay, so
Anyway.
so you got the envelope.
I got the envelope. I
Wha-
was like, okay, this is a good sign. I opened it, and I don't know, like I started crying. I think that was like the first time I had like tears of joy, and then I was like freaking out, and I told my mom. My mom starts crying. So that was like a whole event. I was like, I've never cried because of happiness, and that was the first time I cried. I was like, okay, I can go to school with like, because I was like gonna go to a community college, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. No. I want to like emphasize that like it's affordable and it you have to do you got to do.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to go out of state. I didn't want to stay in Utah. I think like my growth as a person is just like I think. It would have been completely different if I'd stayed in Utah and think limited in a sense, like just because it was very conservative and it was like I didn't feel like I belonged there. So yeah, I cried. My mom cried. She was so confused why I was crying first. She's
because
like, what's
you were
wrong?
Like, so because I remember they had the booklet, they had the letter at the front, and then I don't remember if they included anything else. Probably like $1 bill. I don't know if it was in that letter. I think it was in that letter. No, that was in the backpack. I feel like the $1 bill was in the backpack. At least for us.
the $1 bill that they're like, you should keep this. I still have it. I still have the $1 bill.
I don't know what happened to mine.
You don't know what happened to yours?
Yeah.
I have the pin still, too.
Mine broke.
That's sad.
I know. I still have the actual thing, but it's just that little piece that came out.
In the pin? Yeah.
But, okay, so I had this one question. So since you felt like when you were doing the interviews and all that, you felt like, oh, you know what? I don't think I'm going to get it. This interview was bad or whatever.
My interview was great.
Well, aside from that, snarky little comment.
What do you mean?
of the Coke.
Oh, yes. That was.
I
think I got roasted about that, and I mean, rightfully so. I don't think they want to ruin their image. I understand why. And that was a dumb post. Especially, I made it public, too. I don't know what I was thinking.
But So aside from all that, you know, what do you think propelled your application like in front, so that way, you know, the people who were deciding that committee to give you the Daniels Fund, what do you think it was? Was it like your volunteer experience, your grades?
I think it was a combination of everything. I don't know. I kept pretty good grades, like I don't know, like 3.9 or whatever. I don't remember. And like I took just a bunch of hard classes, and yeah, like my school was like AP IB school, you know, so it's like, you know.
And were you working as well?
I was working sometimes, but I think like my senior year, I decided not to work, to just focus on school, because I thought that was like the most important years of my college, because it's like you want to take effort into putting like put effort into college applications, but also I wanted to put effort into like studying for my ACT and my SATs. But I don't know. I think it was like I was a nerd. So surprising. I think I was a part. This is embarrassing to say out loud. It's not embarrassing. It was cool. I was a part of the robotics team.
Hey, no, I think honestly, I kind of regret not being a part of that, because now that I use a lot of computers, I'm like, okay, if I knew how to troubleshoot, that's all you're doing in robotics. You're troubleshooting the hell out of that robot.
And like debugging, all that stuff.
Exactly. So now I'm like, okay, see, sometimes I wish I should have done some more things, but I'm like, okay, you know, I'm thankful.
You're still here.
Yeah, I'm still here. I got to this point. But I don't know, at least for me, when I was doing the application and once I got it, I was like, you know what? I think the letters of recommendation hella helped.
Yes.
Letters of recommendation and the experience of not only work, but also like just like everyone's, again, that same like letters of recommendation, like people vouch for me like so much. And that's why I thank everyone, especially at my high school and all my college counselors, because I really don't think, just if it were me applying, I don't think I would have gotten it. But if I had that, you know, that support of like people saying, you know what, just do it, because I didn't even want to turn it in either.
I just did it.
I really wasn't. I was
me
like,
either. I thought I wasn't going to need it, but then I realized that's stupid for me to not apply.
Yeah.
Because I might need it. I don't know what's going to happen 3 months, like 4 or 5 months from now. Like,
well, I even had the plan to go into the Marines to just go do that, just so that way I could get college. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll just do this. Let's see what happens. You know, Marines is already tough, but this seems like I just write 2-3 essays, whatever.
Yeah, different experiences for sure.
Yeah.
Writing essays, then joining
the
Marines and doing basic training.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what, let me just do this. And then all of a sudden I got that first interview. And same thing, I was like, oh, this is the first time I'm like nerve-wracked, because the whole process I was like, oh, well, you know, all my friends, they're going to move forward. I'm glad for them. And I was just like, all right, well, this is my time to shine, I guess, right?
I think there was just me and one other kid that moved forward in our high school. Yeah,
well,
which was weird. I was like, whoa.
The story about our high school, and I didn't find out about it until later, is that our high school has the highest amount of Daniels Fund winners.
Wow.
In the
history. So you had a good chance.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I didn't know that when I was applying for it. I was like, oh, well, you know, I knew a couple guys that got it before me, but it wasn't like I was actively asking or seeking out about it.
No, me either. I heard about it, and I was like, oh, this looks like, you know, a backup plan for what I was trying to do. And even then, I was like, okay, it's a way for me to, like, even if I go out of state, that's not, like, a part of the sponsor, like, school program that they have, like, where you get a full ride. I still get, like, Daniels Fund will, like, well, I don't know about now, but they paid for everything except your expected contribution on your FAFSA.
Yeah, the EFC, expected family contribution. Yeah.
And that's it. And, you know.
And that's, like, what, $3,000 a year?
That's, like, so inexpensive for, like, going to the East Coast or something like that, where you're paying like $50,000 for tuition, and then you have rent.
Out-of-state tuition.
Yeah. I mean, not saying that DU is not expensive, because it's like what, 78,000.
70. Yeah, and they just increased it.
Yeah, they increased the tuition by 5%. Like, they need more money. so they can pay for their hockey team's private jet or something like that. I don't know.
Do they actually have a?
I don't know. That's like a rumor. I did.
Really? I was like, damn! Just because they won the national championship, they get a private jet now.
I mean, I guess I think they're the playing flying coach might affect their performance.
I think so. So let's bump it up to first class
and
private.
That's insane.
Let's just own it and rent out when we're not using it, right?
Lease the private jet.
Hey, you gotta make money, man.
Oh my God, yeah, they make plenty of money.
Yeah.
But I'm very grateful to be a DU. I'm not going to.
Yes.
Yes.
No. Yeah. And that's where I'm like, okay, it's beautiful that we're not gonna have to be in debt.
Oh, I'm so lucky.
And the horrible things about since you're a business major, debt is like killer to someone trying to buy a home.
It depends. I think it depends.
But like debt
if you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Debt if you can't afford it, you can leverage that. I think that's like a misconception. That's why usually businesses don't pay in cash for things. Like they don't purchase new assets usually by like cash because it's like, first of all, how are you going to come up with that cash? And it's just easier.
Yeah. Well, I get about that. Like getting into a mortgage and stuff like that. Yeah. That's good debt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But like we were just talking about, like leasing a car.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, all right, if it's for work, if it's a work vehicle, smart decision. That vehicle is paying you to do that. Mm-hmm. But in the other sense, if you just want to be cool and have the latest SRT, Dodge Challenger and sports car just to have it for the looks, I don't know.
My professor, shout out Professor Chicharina, she's so swag. She's my finance professor. I remember she was talking about her husband, like how he leases his cars because he literally switches his cars every 2 years because he had like an old Tesla and he was like, I want a new Tesla. And she's like Eastern European, so she's very like about her money, about keeping her money. Yeah. And her husband is like the complete opposite. So he's like leasing cars now because it makes more sense than to buy a car and then like. Well,
because when you lease it, you don't have to worry about the maintenance. It's still technically under the warranty.
Exactly,
right?
And you can trade it in for like another car.
Another newer car. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But I don't know. For me, I've always thought about like those types of, and it works in different situations, right?
Yes.
For me, as a college student, I'm not going into a lease for a car.
I'm not either.
I only need to get point A to point B.
I agree.
I know how to work on cars. I know how to maintain and fix cars. So
I might need to like hit you up on that.
Yeah. Oil changes and filters.
I literally don't know anything about cars.
That's easy. That's
sad.
That's an hour job right there.
Oh my God. Thank you, Ollie.
All I'll need is just dinner and maybe a beer.
I got you. I'll wine and dine you.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's all I'll ask. And you buy the oil and the filter. That's
I got you. Okay, deal. I'll take that. I'll take you up on that.
But I'm so grateful with Daniels. Even though there's a lot of people that say, Daniel was a horrible. Well. At the end of the day,
I don't think he was.
Me either.
I don't think he was. I'm like, there's plenty of rich people that you can be like, oh, they're not like objectively a good person.
Yeah, I bet Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all those guys have done horrible things as well.
The only bad thing about the man was that he was an alcoholic, and if that's the only thing that is wrong with you, that is like you're doing good in life.
Yeah,
you are doing good in life. Like, he donated to, like, he literally made a foundation so he can help people.
Kids like me
kids
and
like
you.
me that didn't have money to go to school.
Exactly.
And I respect that. Also, like, yeah. Like, I don't really.
It kind of seems like those arguments kind of fall out of place because if you put those people in that same situation where they have that type of money or they have that type of influence, I doubt they would kind of do the same thing. No, and that's where I'm like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I got the scholarship first and foremost because not only is it going to affect me, it's going to affect my family for generations, right?
I agree, and it's like you're kind of breaking that generational pattern of. You go from, out of high school to just started working.
Yeah, into the workforce.
Yeah. Blue-collar job, you don't care. You just want to make money. And I don't I'm glad I'm not in that position. And I'm very happy with where I'm at. And I could not do that without Bill Daniels and his scholarship.
Definitely.
And the fact that he died and he donated all of his money to the foundation to help underprivileged kids, I don't think...
Well, I'm still interested in finding out how Daniels, the fund, kind of still makes their money.
They invest it.
So, because since Daniels was in the cable, like the pioneers of cable television and all of that, I feel like he still has a little bit of like a percentage.
Oh, 100%.
From cable industry, TV giants, and says, hey, you know what? For every, new software or, whatever, for whatever percentage that, you guys are still using this software or still using this model, some of that money I feel like is still going to Daniels.
I don't know what investments he had, but I know like the Daniels fund itself accrues interest. Time value of money, finance, kids. It's just like you're like if you have $1 billion fund, that's going to grow annually every year, even if it's by 5%. 5% of $1 billion. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like kind of like an infinite like supply of money if you have $1 billion to just
and that's just
accrue
sitting there, in an investment fund, kind of accruing money.
Exactly, and it's like safe. It's not like it's growing 20% every year, but it's growing a couple percentage points every year, and that's good. It keeps the lights on.
It's $20,000 more than you had, last year.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not a financial planner, so don't listen to me. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm literally I'm going to hire a financial planner when I graduate.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think it's important to start early to invest your money, and I don't know, for me, like...
So you don't use any of those, like the Robinhood apps or any of those?
I do. I have, like, my own personal investments, but I don't think it's...
Look at us.
I know.
We're all
talking about
I think we need a cigar and a nice scotch or something.
Oh my god, I hate liquor. A dark liquor. I can do whiskey.
Whiskey?
Kind of. Yes.
Like that one that's sitting over there? Have you tried that one?
The empty Jack Daniels? No. I like Tennessee though. Like
the honey?
Yes. I had like a shooter and that was like yummy.
It's sweet. It's super
really sweet.
I really like to put it with sparkling water.
Oh.
Because obviously you already have the sugar from the
honey.
From the honey. So it goes down nice and nice cold sparkling water.
Mm-hmm. I don't like carbonated drinks.
Really?
No. I don't like
acid reflux?
I don't like spicy drinks. It's a little like it just hurts when you like. I don't want a drink that's kind of like it hurts me.
Yeah, so you like burp really hard and
Exactly.
A weak stomach, man.
I do. I'm literally like I like alcohol. I hate alcohol hates me. Like it does not. I just don't really drink that often to begin with. Like, but when I do drink, it's just like I have the worst hangover the next day. She knows. I'm pointing across, but she like I'm just so cranky, nauseous, have a headache, and it's like the worst experience ever. And then it lasts for the entire day. I wish like I was able to like fall asleep, but like when I drink, like alcohol really messes with my sleep. So.
You need some of those Latin genes. We can.
You want to give me some?
Well, I need to get rid of some. That's for sure. Because holy crap, this last Thanksgiving I was just like. It's 2 a.m. and I'm still up drinking. Like, I need to go to bed.
Hey, it is like that. I literally went to bed at like 11 p.m. on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I wanted to go to bed early, too, because I had, some other things that I needed to do. And it was just like, but here I am still.
I mean, if you're having a good time.
Oh, no, I had a blast. And
it's a holiday,
And exactly. It was because, I hadn't seen, and I bet you feel the same. I bet you feel it even more with being away from family. Like, holidays is a time when you get to go back and see your family, right? And so I hadn't seen my parents in probably a month and a half. So that was like my chance to say, let's actually spend the whole night together,
That is very sweet.
So that's why I was like, you know what, I'll stay up and,
Party
it
a
up.
little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you see coming in the next 2 years?
Oh, God.
Future.
There's like, oh my God, probably like all of this is gonna be wrong.
No, but like just right now for you, temporary, you know.
Right now, going to Barcelona.
Okay.
Like the Monday, so for 2 weeks.
I thought you were going to Brazil. I thought you said you were going to Brazil.
Did I say Brazil? I said Spain.
Oh, either one of us. I don't know. Well, you're going to Barcelona.
Okay.
This Monday, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Barcelona. It'll be fun.
Uh-huh.
I'm excited, and then, yeah, I wanna travel.
So because this year is already planned out for, you're gonna be going to school, doing everything you can to just
Finishing school.
tie the knot and say, you know what, I'm done.
Yes. I'm gonna try to finish strong. Let's see. Next quarter is gonna be tough for me. It's a really tough quarter because it's gonna be tough classes. But it is what it is. I know I'm gonna pass it. We're gonna get it over with, and then like spring quarter is gonna be pretty easy. And then in June graduation, which I'm excited. I'll have friends from Utah visiting to attend my graduation, so I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
My best friend's family is like coming, so that's
hell yeah.
I'm excited to see them, and then I'm gonna go to Charlotte for like 5 weeks.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna go see the baby?
Yes.
It's 'cause my old roommate, the joke was my old roommate, he's like, hey, you know what, I'm from Charlotte, man. He's like, oh yeah, where's that? He's like, you know the baby? Yeah, where the baby's from? I'm from there.
Isn't the baby like homophobic?
Yeah. He did. He did.
I don't think he'll like me.
Why?
Because I'm gay.
Oh, the baby. I thought you were talking about my roommate. I was like, why wouldn't he like you? He's kind of cool. He's a cool guy.
He's like,
but yeah, no, the baby probably not.
He probably won't like me.
Yeah, probably not.
So funny.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes.
That,
I don't think the baby will like
yeah,
me.
the baby probably not.
No, I'll be
Aubrey, he's a cool guy. Approved. But so Charlotte, you're gonna be there for
training for my work. So that'll be fun. And then I don't know. We'll see if I like my job. I think I will. I'm interested in it, and then we'll see what happens.
Gets the bills paid.
Gets the bills paid. I'm working with a good group of people, and yeah, I'm excited. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're just gonna be working. I just kind of get figured in the situation.
I think so. I think like also just try to like spend time with people that I enjoy. I want to start like learning how to snowboard and stuff. Like that'd be fun.
Actually doing stuff around,
like
Colorado.
Denver, doing Colorado things.
Yeah.
I'm like
well, it's crazy. I've never gone snowboarding or skiing.
No,
and I'm from here.
No, it's a rich. Okay, I also heard like literally I've noticed that people from Colorado, like the majority of them don't go snowboarding and skiing. It's like the people from out of state that do it. I'm so surprised by that.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people move to come here.
Yeah.
Because they can afford to go or they want to go do it. And
I would love to afford it.
For us, it's like, dude, you have to make the drive out there first and foremost. You have to have a truck. You have to have the gear.
I definitely don't have a truck.
Yeah, it's going to help because, you guys have Subarus, right?
No, I don't. I have a Ford Focus. She's a 2-wheel drive, and I will literally die if I drive up the mountains. So I'm going with a friend,
especially when it snows.
Oh my God, I was sliding when I was driving around campus.
Yeah,
when it snowed,
yeah.
I was terrified.
It iced over crazy. I was walking to class slipping.
And they don't pave they don't ice the roads.
Well, the little streets.
I mean, not ice it.
The little streets.
Salt it.
Yeah.
Salt the roads.
They want to ice the ice on top.
Ice the ice.
You gotta fight the ice with ice.
It cancels.
PEMDAS, bitch.
Yes.
But no, yeah, the little streets they don't salt them because it's like
even like the main road.
I-25 barely gets iced, and there's still a shit ton of crashes. Denver's
use of their I don't know, the roads are kind of messed up. Like they don't really take care of them. It's just not really kept.
I don't know. I don't really go to many other states and like check out the roads, but I feel like Georgia.
Just check out the roads.
Yeah, just like
just fucking.
How's the streets looking, man? But
Sexy
I don't know,
streets.
Georgia and California's pretty bad. I've been there a couple times. It's like,
but California drivers are better, in my opinion. They're more aggressive. I would say they're more aggressive, but the people in Denver don't know how to drive. Oh my God, they piss me off.
I hate. Not only do I hate Georgia drivers, I hate California drivers.
They're assholes, but I think in a good way.
New York drivers, on the other hand, those are real drivers.
I agree.
Those are drivers.
I think I would literally crash in New York City, so I would never drive there.
Oh my goodness. You get in a cab. You've been in New York, right? Have you or no?
I have not.
Okay. Definitely recommend. If you want to live the hustle and bustle life, especially now that you're, 21. Oh, it's lively. Summer, it is lively.
Summers in New York look absolutely amazing.
Even winters. I would say right now, right when we're about to, like December, close to December, right before Christmas. Oh, it's still fun.
I bet. I feel like it's just like, that's why when I went abroad, I think like, I don't know, for me, like going to Madrid, that was like the biggest city I went to. And I think it really reminded me of like California and like Chicago, just like
that's another big, another good city.
Just every like there's always something going on, and I appreciate that. I like that I can go out and just fucking find something to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, obviously you can do that in Denver, but I think it's like less
prevalent. Like you can't just like walk.
You can't just walk down the street and be like, oh, there's something going on.
Yeah, no. You have to either go downtown or you have to go to certain areas and kind of plan it out a little bit.
Exactly.
But I will say there is a lot of different other things to do. Like we do have like a lot of places to go bowling and all these little types of
Why
things.
did you pick bowling?
Because this is funny because my roommate again, we're going to bring up Georgia and we're going to talk more shit about Georgia.
It's okay.
But Georgia, it seems like there's not a lot of things to do.
I feel like if you're like in rural parts of Georgia, I think Atlanta is bustling.
But it's a very dangerous city.
So is New York City.
It is, right?
Every main city is dangerous.
But here's what he's telling me. One of the guys that he came to visit, he said, "You know what? I see a lot of the restaurants, they have TVs.
Yeah.
They have TVs in the restaurant." And he's like, "In Georgia, you wouldn't see that. There's like casual robbings all over the place." And I'm like
they would steal the TVs?
Steal the TVs or steal stuff like that. And then he's saying, he's like, a lot of the fun things that, we do is just go to the mall.
That's like, sounds like Utah. That's literally like, when I went back home in the summer for like, I think a week and a half, 2 weeks. Oh my God. That's what that's what I did. Other than hiking, like I love the outdoors. Like I'm very grateful that like when I go back home, like one of my favorite things is that I live very close to like trails. I live very close to the canyon, and I can literally walk 10 minutes walking, and I'm just like, there's a mountain.
Yeah.
Stay in front of me, and there's like a trail. Yeah, it's literally right there. I'm like, wow. But like, yeah, no, I literally went to the mall once. I haven't been to the mall in like 2 years for fun.
Good.
Why would I want to go to the mall?
Why would I want to spend money?
Exactly. I haven't bought anything for myself in like, I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to think. Like my plane ticket, I think like 3 months ago. I don't like buying clothes. I'm like, I'll wear this until this happens.
Until it rips completely. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I think the last time I visited the mall was for my brother's wedding, and then before that it was for these pairs of jeans. But they're
nice.
They're gonna last me for a while. They're the Levi's.
Oh.
So
I got Wranglers on.
Yeah.
They're my dad's pants.
Usually I have Wranglers because they have a pretty good sale at Walmart. I'm like,
dude, I know. They're like Walmart has like good clothes sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, this is like good enough for me. I don't care. I should care more.
But that's another thing. It's like here in Colorado, we do have a lot of different like things to do. Not necessarily just like going out and drinking and stuff like that. But there's like a lot of different weird pockets that you can kind of get into.
I think I need to explore that more. And then after I graduate, I think I want to prioritize that. I also think like I don't know. I was so into like going out every weekend, and now that has like changed where I'm not really like looking forward to like I don't want to like drink to the point where I'm like hungover.
Yeah, no.
Like
no.
I'm just going to like, drink, to enjoy my friends' company
Yeah,
and
you can most definitely do that. Hey, let's meet up here and boom.
just talk, have a conversation. I love that. I love just like grabbing a beer with like my buddies and this like having, just like chatting, catching up. I think like most of my friends are like graduating or graduated. So for me, like.
But it's scarier now. I don't know, especially
to
after
graduate.
this. No, well, just going out in general.
Oh yeah, with COVID and everything.
Well, not only that. Just think about that shooting that just happened.
Right. No, I especially like going to a gay bar.
Yeah.
You know, like it's. I don't know. We're thinking about going like to a gay bar tonight, and I mean, I think a couple of us are hesitant about it, and that's okay. It's completely valid, and it's like scary, dude. You don't know what's going to happen like at any instance, and I don't know. I think like I don't know what it is with like Colorado and the amount of mass shootings we have. Like it's insane. Like, do we just breed shooters? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Like,
I really.
The United States is like it's so bad here.
Yeah. And I've always run into this argument with my friends. It's like, do I carry a gun? Do I not?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first and foremost, I need to go through the proper training. But how can I trust that everyone else goes through the proper training as I do?
Exactly. I've like been to a firing range before. I've like shot a gun before. Not my thing. I also don't know how I would react in that situation. I don't know. Like, yeah, you can have like proper training, whatever. But like, are you capable of reacting the way that you did in a calm setting, the way that you do when it's chaotic around you, And you have to be careful. Like, you can't just like shoot into an open crowd to like protect yourself. You're gonna hurt like other people. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard.
It's a lot to think about now. It's like, well.
And it's just like, what is Europeans doing? Like, what is Europe doing? What are other countries doing where they don't have like the amount of mass shootings that we're like, yes, I know what they're doing. Definitely there's an emphasis on mental health.
Mm-hmm.
People care for each other and care about like the people and the government cares about the people that they're like governing.
But
I don't think there's like an emphasis here.
Oh no, the legal system is all about making money.
Punishment.
And the whole idea about jails, and I think we'll finish it off with this, but the whole idea of jails is about keeping those jails full. And for a long time, it was like, let's just put anyone in there because we know the government's going to pay for this.
And especially if you have privatized prisons, you are incentivizing people like getting back into crime, getting back into their old habits, and then just like you're not focused on rehabilitation, you're focused on kind of like releasing these people that have not like existed in like life to like get back to like normal life, to like being a responsible contributing citizen without any help, without any aid.
Well, it's a whole different life in there because I have a cousin that he actually went, and he told me some stories where it's like a zoo. It's the most like primal way of living, I think, still to this day, because it's still the rules of, you're black, you're black, you're white, you're white, you're Latino, you're Latino. Stick with your crew, and that's all you get.
Yeah.
There's no room for messing up there because, and I mean, it wasn't like that forever, but still, it's just.
And it depends on what crime you do. You do a white-collar crime, you're going to a white-collar jail.
Yeah.
And then you got tennis courts,
Yeah, or TVs.
Yeah,
and
TVs
cable.
and stuff. So, I don't think the U.S. prioritizes, like, taking care of its people and prioritizing mental health and, like, rehabilitating people, taking care of its citizens.
But that's where we gotta... if they're not going to do that, then shit, I got to do it for myself.
Exactly. I do think there's a sense of responsibility that you have to take for yourself.
Yeah, there's no more. I don't feel like there's a lot of trust in kind of the government and being able to do the right thing. It's like now we gotta kind of look out for ourselves. You gotta
fend for yourself. But I also think that's like,
but not in an abrasive sense where it's like, fuck you and fuck authority. No, it's just like, okay, I don't want to get into those, kind of programs. I know I can do on my own. That's fine. Yeah. Cool. But anyone else who does need the programs, go ahead. That's what they're for.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think, like, I don't know. I think, like, I'm so, like conflicted about this issue because I think, like, that there has to be a sense of, like, trust in the government for there to be any change in policy. But I also think that they have not given us any, incentive or reason to do that. Yeah. And I do think, like, it's hard to, like, have trust in a system that has always failed you, especially as, like,
people of color.
People of color. Like, I'm a female. I'm,
that's another layer
of that. But, like, it's hard, and I don't know. I want to be optimistic about, like, I'm put faith in the people that have control, but it's hard when they continuously fail you. And then they expect, voter turnout to be good. I mean, it has been good in Colorado, thank God. But, like, why would people vote when you have not
shown that there's a reason to trust in
that system,
or even a hope or a slight chance of change? Because I see that with my cousin. He's a DACA recipient, and there has been no movement since that program has the first couple of years. There's no word on, is this moving forward or not, or there's more restrictions being put on it and stuff like that. So it's like, the fuck?
Yeah. I think also, like, I don't know, with how divisive everything is, how people are just so conflicted, I think that, there is no giving another person that you don't necessarily agree with the benefit of the doubt anymore. It's either you're racist or you're a liberal snowflake, and there's no in between. Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like the polarization. It's just not. There's no way you can make healthy progress that way, because, like, I don't. Compromise is the only way to make change, and I feel like right now it's always like you're either left or right.
You against me. Us
them. and that mentality is so dangerous. Because it builds up, like, this, like, anger inside people. Yeah. And, the way that you like, I don't know.
And that's another thing now that we know about all the... Well, we can keep on going for hours. We already have 1 hour and 20 minutes.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So we'll probably have to do a second part. Maybe if you would like to.
Yeah. My December is kind of messed up, so maybe in January.
Oh no, this will be later on because I'm already. I actually got good news that I got. I got a position, or hopefully I'll get a position to be working for another podcast soon.
Oh, congratulations!
So I want to be able to take some skills from there, and maybe we can do like a journalistic type.
I'm down.
About
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, and I'm probably thinking right now, just experiences of Daniel's Fund recipients here at the U. Maybe we'll set up an interview, something like that. But yeah, this is your outro. Any last people you want to shout out? Shout out.
No, shout out to me.
Yeah. Narcissist.
Exactly.
No, I'm just kidding.
No,
yeah.
I don't know. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time, and this was fun. I love talking with you.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it's definitely. I always like to invite people who I think are interesting, and obviously, thank you for saying yes, because that's always the big nerve of
course.
You never know if people are gonna say yes, but yeah, I think we're gonna head out.
Okay.
And we'll peace out. Yeah, I guess that's it.